Got to make sure I have my coffee nearby. Yeah, we're starting off with Microsoft in just a second. Let's just make sure everything's kicked in. It says we're live. Think we're good. Welcome back to Silicon Scoop, John. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you, Craig?
I'm doing well. We had a great event this week, and it was CIX, and there's a bunch of other stuff coming up, and the news just doesn't stop coming, does it?
No, so much news for us to cover. So much new things. A lot of robotics, a lot of AI, a lot of quantum. Yeah, really cool.
So let's start jumping into it. It says we're live, but we haven't kicked. Oh, we're just kicked in. So we're on YouTube on my local here. I like to make sure because we've had a couple of false starts before. The video just kicked in. So let's get going. We'll start off with a few weeks back, John. We talked about Microsoft's new qubits, the topography cubics from the Majorana, their chip. But apparently now there's a huge controversy about it that maybe they're making a bunch of stuff up and scientists are all up in an uproar. What's going on here?
Yeah, so I found a few articles on this, but so apparently their claims are facing a lot of criticism from the scientific community. And I just need to say this is any huge advancement, huge leap is always going to be met with criticism. But let's dive into this specifically. So just to give you guys some background, the company, Microsoft, announced that it had developed a new state of matter, a topple conductor, which could enable the creation of topological qubits, which are different than, something's going on. So the qubits are crucial for reducing errors in quantum computing, but they are not using, they're using different qubits. So physicists are arguing that the evidence that Microsoft has presented doesn't convincingly demonstrate the existence of Majorana zero modes, which are the quasi-particles necessary for topological qubits. So it was really evident at the American Physical Society Global Summit, where Microsoft's presentation failed to convince many researchers. So the company's claims rely on a simplified model and measurement protocols that some experts believe are flawed. So, and to top it off, a paper published in Nature, which Microsoft cited as evidence, was noted by the journal's editors to not provide conclusive evidence for the presence of Majorana zero modes. So, what are your thoughts on this? I know you were skeptical when we first talked about this article, because this is a completely different path than what everyone else is doing in the quantum world, right? You're on mute.
I want to clear a couple of things up. I call it Majorana because my name is Major, so that's the way it goes. Rather than it's.
I think you can pronounce it both ways.
So, yeah, and the topological at the front, I said topographical because I didn't have the stuff on the screen. I was skeptical about it because every time there's new stuff, they're skeptical. But I sit back and say, okay, the company, this is the culmination of over a decade of research and billions in investment from Microsoft. So I wouldn't put it past anybody to make stuff up. So why would they come out, make this announcement, and not have had a peer review beforehand?
Especially from a company like Microsoft, right?
Yeah. So that's, and so it's notable that with the announcement, it lacks peer review validation of the Majorana detection, and it's raising serious questions, like you mentioned. So why would they have come out and made this announcement unless there was some weird pressure to do so without peer review validation?
Exactly. Yeah, but we can also dive into the challenge here that they're facing. So the existence of Majorana zero modes it's crucial for these topological qubits. So And we covered this before, but these topological qubits are less prone to errors, which is why I think Microsoft is taking this path. But the problem is detecting these quasi-particles is challenging because they're elusive. So Microsoft is claiming of observing and controlling Majorana particles, which is what is being questioned by physicists. And they're arguing that the company's methods and data do not conclusively prove their existence, which is what you're saying. Is why would they spend over a decade on this and not have concrete, conclusive proof of their claims? Why not spend a couple more years, take some time? Is it because of the quantum race right now and there's something that they're holding back? What do you like?
I don't
do you think
know.
is happening here at Microsoft?
I'm not sure. What I say is like a peer review paper probably only takes a couple of months to bring a few people in and have at least a couple peer reviews, even if you don't want to publish it because there's some potential IP that you don't want out yet that you're trying to get copyrighted and whatnot. So there might be some issues related to that. But there's the skepticism arises from lack of peer review, the questions about the chip superconducting gap stability, the unresolved scalability channels, and previous false alarms in this the Majorana detection that were later retracted. So I guess the scientific community says we've heard this before, and every time we've done a deep dive, it's not been true. And you haven't let us peer review this, so why wouldn't you? So that's why I think jobs are on the line internally, and I think they were under some pressure, so they put this out as, hey, this is what we've been doing, and then they got a little bit backlash, and they weren't necessarily thinking they would.
But that, like, why would you not think you would get backlash when you are presenting a completely different approach to quantum computing?
Well, maybe they also, when we take a step back, everyone's trying to be the race to stable quantum computing, to be the leader in quantum computing, and when someone gets that, they're gonna, lead the world in that space. So everyone wants to be the leader. So they jumped out with this, which is great, but maybe they're not don't have the peer review, like I said, because there's IP. They want to control this stuff. They're just saying, hey, we've got this. You guys can deny it all you want, but we're going ahead with it. Our stuff works. So maybe because they want to keep the IP, because they want to be the exclusive owners of the chip, and you can only buy it from us. So I think there's potential some stuff there. But according to Microsoft representatives, they plan to improve device fabrication techniques, expand test protocols, develop more sophisticated measuring tools, and scale their approach to create more complex quantum systems. So the proprietary nature of Microsoft's work creates tension within scientific norms that favor transparency and reproducibility, because they do a lot of undisclosed, and independent verification is difficult.
Yeah. So either they do think they have something that is going to work, or they're doubling down on their BS. So one of the two. And I hope that it's the former, because based on everything I've read, and again, I'm not an expert in quantum mechanics, quantum computing, or quantum physics, but I do know a little bit to understand where they're coming from here. And if they can prove this, and if they can scale this, and if they can commercialize this, this could be the solution to the error-prone qubits that are currently being developed by everyone else.
Absolutely. And we've talked about this stuff all the time. Everyone's got slightly different ways to reduce errors. I think it was the Amazon chip that had 4 qubits for calculation and 3 qubits for error correction. It might have been 5 and 4. So everyone's using a lot of different processing to do the error correction, because there's a lot of errors going on here.
Yeah.
And
well, because you're not talking about ones and zeros anymore. So
well, not only that, but if the stories around what's happening when they turn these things on, and say, hey, you know what? We found this thing that would have took 10,000 years, and we believe that it tapped into the power of the multiverse and computers and did some parallel computing with itself across the multiverse to come out with this thing. And like, oh, okay. If you believe that, then, you know, things change
Yeah.
from how much power and quantum and stuff happens in a vacuum. So there are things you would want to keep to yourself, but also leveraging that power in other. It's mind-blowing when you start thinking about it. I'm sorry if I get tongue-tied when I start talking about utilizing computers in other universes to solve my problems here.
Well, it's not computers in other universes. It's qubits. It's particles in other universes. But yeah.
So when you get to error prone, if you believe that you're talking about this multiverse computer processing, however you want to phrase it, whether it's using that computer powered data or whatever, it by itself is prone to induce errors. If you're talking about, because every multiverse would be slightly different for whatever reason, then that process in itself could produce errors. So that's why it's very interesting when you start thinking about all these things. Like, what level of error control do you need on a computer that analyzes things across multiple dimensions?
I think they have it. I think they know what they need, but I don't know what it is as far as the error rate.
So this didn't happen in a vacuum, right? Like, there's been claims and retractions before. A high-profile 2018 paper in Nature claiming Majorana detection that was later retracted due to data analysis. Several research groups reporting promising signals that couldn't reproduce the independent teams' results, and theoretical revisions suggesting that many observed effects had conventional explanations. So these previously false alarms are called wolf effect in the quantum community, where extraordinary claims are now met with heightened scrutiny. So what does Microsoft need to demonstrate? They need to publish detailed methods and results in peer-reviewed journals. They need to allow independent verification by external research groups, demonstrate scalability beyond a single qubit, show unambiguous evidence of the Majorana braiding or fusion, because these were braided together, as we talked about multiprocessing wise, and present error rates and coherence times for their topological qubits. So the last point is particularly crucial. Microsoft needs to show not just that they've created Majorana's zero modes, but these modes can be manipulated to store and process quantum information reliably. Yeah. The quantum computing community would welcome a topological qubit breakthrough, explains one of the researchers, but evidence needs to match the magnitude of the claim.
Yeah.
So we've got a deep dive on TorontoStarts.com where we're comparing all these things, comparing it to IBM and what Google's doing, IonQ, Honeywell, PsiQuantum, and how they're all doing it. There's more and more information. So if you're really interested, go take a deep dive. The show in the podcast show notes, the link will be in the podcast where you're ever listening to it. We'd love to hear your feedback. Is this going to be a breakthrough in getting these topological qubits, or is this just another bait and switch, or is it just a mistake and Microsoft isn't leading the way? What are your theories? We'd love to hear back from you. Leave your comments. Let us know. Gotta find where I put this. All right. Share this instead. So a couple of days ago, OpenAI released GPT-4o and image generation and a bunch of new features in. And Wednesday, I was doing some image generation, and I was shocked at how good it was at rendering text and I put my logo in, and it created all this stuff, really matching the style and images and whatnot. It created great images. Unfortunately, I had an event that day, and it took me all day. And by the time I got back to look at it on Thursday, they had pulled a lot of their image gen capability off the site. It's back on, but it's not nearly performing as well as it should be because apparently we're melting down chips. What's happening here, John?
Yeah, so this is cool. So yeah, so the cool thing about this new gen is the text that it can do. So for those of you who've not used image generation tools, one of the biggest struggles that image generation tools have is with text and just proper text, not just writing it properly, but displaying it properly so it's clear, it's concise. And this, when it was released, was a game changer. It was high def text. It was written properly. It was awesome. But word got out fast. And so due to overwhelming demand, and the other thing too that they were concerned about is copyright concerns. So they pulled the free version just one day after its launch. So this, I guess what this shows from my perspective is that these companies are still facing challenges balancing user demand with legal, technical constraints, all that sort of stuff. So I'm curious as to, and yeah, so the what you were saying about melting GPUs, I did a deep dive into that, and so like he was speaking metaphorically, but still, like it was overheating their GPUs. It was straining them ridiculously crazy. So I like it. This is awesome. They've done this huge leap. Even Grok, which I liked, Grok image generating tool, it couldn't handle text very well. But yeah, what are your thoughts about this going forward, Craig?
For me, this is a huge leap forward. And I will just give you some examples here. These aren't necessarily the greatest examples from quality image generation, but it created this from scratch with the text all by itself. I didn't have to do anything. And I'm going to share a couple of more just because, I have a few examples, and it was amazing. And I was quite shocked at it. I've only seen like Ideogram do this as well. And Ideogram's fairly pricey when it comes to creating graphics and whatnot. So it created these with all the images. So it got very popular, not only for how much text it was able to create, but the fact that you could throw in copyrighted images or whatnot and say, create something in this style. And everyone was going nuts with it. I really enjoyed that because I took our company logo that I'd created and said, hey, let's create graphics that have this style. And it went ahead and did all this and with the text and whatnot. And it looks great. So that by itself was amazing, but it was shocking to find out that it was pulled down for free users. Right, next day, I'm a paid user, so I still have access to it. When I was creating images today, it was failing a lot. It wouldn't quite create it. I think it's still having problems with the CPU. I still ended up producing probably about 8 good images today from it when I probably should have produced 15 or so, just from the failures and whatnot. So it's hit and miss still, just because I think the performance is not there, but the graphics are great and people are loving it. And I think as soon as they tweak the performance a little bit and figure out how to let people actually create what they want without overheating their servers, as it were, this will be an incredible tool. When I saw this, I immediately texted a friend of mine, Alex, as you know, and said, bye-bye, Canva. This is the end for them.
Yeah. Well, I use Canva's good. When it comes to presentations, I use gamma.app. We're not sponsored by them, just I find so they do presentations and it generates the slides and does all the from the content that you give it. It can also generate AI content. So it's cool. I think this will obviously, once they work this out and work this further, that will overtake that as well, or just enhance it. But I think this is crazy. This is one of those, I feel, breakthroughs in image gen that that's been needed for a while, because although they can generate decent images. The text is not good. And I'm curious to see what other features are included in kind of this advancement, if that makes sense.
Yeah, GTB4 utilizes complex algorithms to reproduce styles like the Ghibli one that's been going around everywhere. Its regressive image generation combines the analysis of diverse data sets with user-defined prompts. So this gives a key advantage is improves character proportions and scene clarity, higher fidelity and style recognition, and consistent output across various images. So there's a lot of copyright debate when you can just put something in. A lot of image creators won't do what this does. Now, I haven't asked it to create an image of Elon Musk, for example, or like my go-to is Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg jousting on dolphins, and see if they can create that image. That's if they could do that and create a good image, that's probably a pretty good image generator. The problem is most of them, as soon as you say a person's name or a company's logo or a brand, they're like, we can't do that. Like, there's a reason why a lot of these things, I don't know if you noticed that if you asked it to do a picture of a rose, they would refuse.
Really?
And then if you told it to do a picture of the flower rose, no problem. Blah, 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 blah. So there's something to do with rose that is a trademark or a name that it's inferring. It's saying, yeah, I can't do that. And so a lot of times when you get our servers are too busy or there was a problem generating your image, come back later, a lot of times that's just copyright issue. They just don't have a good error message for that and don't know how to tell you. Because it's just what it is. Because you put it in a image generation, it says, yeah, we can't create that image. That's why I'm getting these errors. You start to feel about that. So OpenAI asserts that it doesn't replicate individual artists, but instead focuses on a broader studio styles. This claims remains controversial, particularly regarding unique influencers like Hayao Miyazaki's distinct style. Miyazaki's, sorry. Potentially devaluation of their work, loss of income opportunities, and unattributed use of their artistic styles are some of the concerns from the artists. So we'll have to see what's going to happen with the legal copyright cases that are going on, because in the end, I think it will affect how good some of these image models are, because I believe they're going to have to remove some stuff or remove some features or not allow people to copy styles, whatever it is. Text rendering clarity is superior compared to competitors. Multi-prompt handling is more effective at processing elaborate prompts, and you can tell it stuff like take this out, take that out, so it's not too bad. It's consistent across sequences, so it maintains coherence in narrative and character design, and style fidelity captures essential aesthetic qualities of the Studio Ghibli. But this is great. Like it creates uses your colors, creates it in your style. Branding becomes easy. I'm thinking more of like from a social media branding company point of view, you can now create art and images for your website that have the colors, the branding, and everything automatically. That's consistent with the fonts. It's amazing. And this is going to be a game changer once they get the performance working the way they want.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for this. Yeah.
So let us know what you think. Are you using these tools to generate art? I know there's a lot of people out there who are anti that. I know some people came at me online for some crappy images about whatever that I created with AR. They were actually not great, but it's, they need to be going after these billion-dollar companies if they want anything to change. And because apparently AI generated images are not art, and people will tell you that right away. So what do you think? Is AI generated images art? What would take it across the threshold? Are these image generators going to be neutered by copyright laws that in favor of the artists, or is the artist going to be run over? We'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this and the future of AI art and copyright.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's see if we got here. So we've got some really interesting news that scientists now think that black holes could be tunnels to white holes. What's going on here, John?
Have you heard of a white hole before seeing this article?
It's funny that you mentioned that, but I have only because if you look at the Grok image new logo, it looks something like this.
Yeah.
And so that's a picture of a black hole to white hole tunnel.
No, that's just a generate. That's just so. Do you know what that's from?
No, I'm
That's from
telling you.
Interstellar.
Yeah, and that's right. And that's because it's a black hole tunnel. It's like when you feed this into some of the models, this was Google image. What I fed into Grok came back something different. It came up with this, and I'm like, holy crap, that's almost exactly the Grok logo. And interesting how these things come together when you talk about space travel and Interstellar and him wanting to go to Mars.
Yeah.
Nonetheless,
No. Yeah.
Black holes have long been seen as cosmic endpoints, but recent theories suggest they may be transition to white holes.
Yeah.
So, John, what is a white hole?
So a white hole, it's a theoretical counterpart to a black hole. So a black hole can be entered. A white hole essentially cannot be entered. So they're entities that can't be entered, but can expel matter and energy. So the thing is that they're talking about is if black holes can transition into white holes, this could have profound implications for our understanding of cosmic evolution and the cycle of matter and even energy in the universe. This could help us understand dark matter even more. But it also raises questions about the nature of time and space. So the coolest concept and freakiest concept is that it suggests that time, again, might not be linear, but rather cyclical or interconnected across different regions of the universe. So the cool thing about this article is that it challenges traditional views of black holes as cosmic sinks and suggests a more dynamic and interconnected universe. And so the implications of this. So this is what they're doing is they're applying quantum mechanics to black hole singularities, right? And so it's offering a radical reinterpretation of these black holes. So what they're saying is instead of them being points of destruction, they could be areas of strong quantum fluctuations where space and time do not end, but transform, which aligns with Interstellar, the movie Interstellar from Chris Nolan.
Let's not talk about that again, shall we? Surprisingly, dark energy, the mysterious force accelerating the universe expansion, plays a crucial role in this theory. Researchers propose that dark energy serves as a measure of time itself, driving that transition process from black hole to white hole. These quantum fluctuations effectively create a bridge across what was previously thought to be an impenetrable barrier. So this transformation occurs through a series of quantum effects. Quantum uncertainty principles prevent the formation of true singularities. Space-time itself undergoes quantum fluctuations near the black hole's center. These fluctuations create a tunnel-like passage to a white hole. Matter that enters the black hole eventually emerges from the white hole.
Yeah. So like white holes are hypothetical and obviously have not been observed. But theories like the loop quantum gravity suggest that they could be the final stage in the evolution of black holes. And the theory itself proposes that matter inside a black hole could bounce back due to quantum repulsive forces, which would transform it into a white hole. But again, we've never observed white holes, so it raises questions about their existence and visibility in the universe, obviously, right? So maybe we just don't have the tools to detect white holes. Who knows? Maybe there's tons of white holes out there. We just can't see them because we don't have the technology.
Yeah, if black holes indeed transform into white holes, it implies that time doesn't end at the singularity, but rather restarts within the white hole. The concept offers fascinating insights to the universe's origins, like you mentioned, and ongoing evolution. Some theorists even propose that our universe might itself have emerged from a white hole following a black hole in a previous cosmic cycle. So the implications extend to several cosmic phenomena: fundamental nature of time and physical property, potential cyclical patterns in cosmic evolution, new perspectives on the universe's ultimate fate, and connections between seemingly isolated regions of space-time. So this revolutionary model suggests that what appears to be the end of matter's journey might just be a transition to point in a larger cosmic cycle, with information and energy preserved rather than destroyed.
Yeah, really cool. I'm excited for this because this is a step towards kind of how do I say this? Like that the black holes aren't the suck holes end of life that we've thought that they were, which means that there's a lot of possibilities within that black hole for other for life and different things like that. So this is really exciting to me.
Yeah, it is really exciting. You know, the transition from black hole to white hole creates what can be described as cosmic tunnels through space-time. These tunnels can also called wormholes through all those other sci-fi or Einstein-Rosen bridges, theoretically connect distant regions of the universe, potentially enabling the passage across vast cosmic distances.
Yeah.
If the black hole is a white hole model, matter that enters the black hole would eventually emerge from its connected white hole. This process isn't instantaneous. Significant time dilation would occur, meaning what seems like a brief journey to travel might represent billions of years in the outside universe.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so these space-time tunnels challenge our intuitive understanding of distance and connectivity in the cosmos. They suggest that points appearing impossibly remote in our observable universe might connect through hyperdimensional pathways. But I guess, you know, if you're affected by time in this way, when you get there, the whole universe will be changed.
Yeah. Yeah. Changed like dramatically.
So there's a lot more information here on torontostarts.com. If you're listening to this in the podcast, go check it out, because, you know, we take a deep dive into Einstein's theory, limitations, and the need for quantum gravity. We talk about dark matter and the primordial white holes, the connections and the different theories that apply, gravitational waves, the new windows in the black hole phenomenon. Have you read about the gravitational waves?
Yeah.
So let's talk about them.
Well, okay, so gravitational waves are we just find, I think we just recently observed gravitational waves. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to explain a little bit more?
The detection of gravitational waves from black hole mergers by LIGO and Virgo collaboration represents a revolution in observational astronomy. Future, more sensitive detectors might capture unique signatures predicting by the black hole to white hole transition phenomenon, including distinctive echoes or patterns that differ from those predicted through classical relativity. If black holes indeed transition to white holes, the gravitational wave signals for this process would exhibit unique characteristics that would be detected with sufficiently advanced technologies. Researchers are actively developing models of these potential signals to guide future observations. So gravitational wave observations may reveal echoes or reflections suggesting internal structure beyond the event horizon, deviations from patterns in predicted classical general relativity, evidence of quantum effects near black hole horizons, and signals potentially associated with white hole formation. So these gravitational wave observations represent the most promising path towards testing the revolutionary idea that black holes are cosmic gateways.
Yeah, and we've got a long ways to go to enhance our detection methods, because so they were theorized, I think, by Einstein back in the early 1900s, and we just recently observed them, I think 2015 or 2016. So like we've got a long ways to go, and we got to work on the technology. I can't remember how they detected them. I think they were using I can't remember. Anyways, yeah. But it's cool.
So key unanswered questions include: what is the precise mechanism driving the transition from black holes to white holes? How long would such a transition take from the perspective of an outside observer? Could information that falls into a black hole remain coherent through the transition? What observable signatures might confirm the existence of white holes? So, we need to focus on developing more precise mathematical models of the transition process, identifying distinct observational signatures that could confirm the theory, explore connections with other quantum gravity approaches, and understand the implications for the cosmic evolution and the fate of the universe.
Yeah.
So let us know what you think. Do you think black holes are a gateway to white holes? Do you think these gravitonic waves are the way we're going to measure this out? Do you have a completely different theory? Let us know. I would love to hear your thoughts. Cool. So MIT engineers have developed a way to grow artificial tissues that look and act like natural counterparts. Now, I don't know if I've got the image or the video here of that robot that was squiggling around. No, I do not. But it looked kind of like a really malfunctioning host from Westworld. If you saw that,
Was that MIT robot, or was that someone else's robot?
Well, they're hybrid robots that are 3D printed. So I'm not sure whose robot specifically that was, but it was through this same method.
Okay.
So tell us what's going on here, John.
Yeah, so they developed artificial muscle tissue that can flex in multiple directions. What they did was they developed this new stamping technique where they 3D printed a small handheld stamp with microscopic grooves in it. I don't know if you have a picture of it, but and they're each about the size of a single cell. So this is how small they are, right? So the stamp was pressed into a soft hydrogel, which then was seeded with real muscle cells. So they're using real muscle cells. And then as the cells grew, they aligned with the stamped patterns, which formed fibers that could contract in multiple directions when stimulated. This is nuts. So they did demonstrate the capability by creating an artificial, what they're calling an iris-like structure in the article that contracts both in both ways. So it's similar how the human eye's iris dilates and constricts the pupil kind of thing. So this is scary. So this is cool because the development, it opens up possibilities for creating robots that can navigate through tight spaces or interact delicately with their environment, much like living organisms. And the cool thing about this stamping method that they talked about in the article is that it's versatile. So it can be adapted to tabletop 3D printers, making it accessible for broader applications. So just to kind of think about this beyond robotics, though, like I know we're talking about this from a robotics perspective, but it could also contribute to regenerative medicine by creating tissues that mimic the architectural complexity of natural muscle, neurons, or even heart cells. Right? What do you think about that?
I think it's amazing. And this thing is overcoming the problems traditional artificial muscle design, which is unidirectional movement. So this goes both ways versus before it was only able to contract versus contract and expand like your arm. So it's unidirectional, which was a problem before. Now it's bidirectional. You can go back and forth. A limited range of motion and difficult mimicking complex biological structures. So these were some of the key challenges that they had to overcome to create this. And it is a huge step in the right direction. I'm curious to see, because this could be integrated in medical. This could be integrated in all sorts of things. Like this kind of thing could change the artificial limb business forever.
Yeah. So just to kind of put this into perspective, so there's other researchers who have been exploring different approaches to these artificial muscles. So I know ETH Zurich, they developed artificial muscles, but they used pouches filled with liquid, which contract in response to electrical impulses. So this, I think, is a huge leap forward as far as artificial muscles for robots and even for people. I know that also, I found some information. The Chinese Academy of Sciences, they found that training artificial muscles with electrical and mechanical stimulation, both during growth, can significantly enhance their contraction strength. So not only can you grow muscles, or not only can you create muscles, but you can grow them by exercising them, just like our muscles, which is super cool.
Yeah, what they're doing here is amazingly interesting. You know, these artificial muscles can replace rigid actuators in current robotic systems, offering enhanced adaptability in confined or irregular spaces, improved energy efficiency through mimetic movement, biodegradable components for environmentally sensitive applications, and smoother, more natural interactions with humans and environment. So this leads to basically soft robots.
Yeah. Yeah.
From tissue engineering implications, these advancements have significant implications for regenerative medicine, like you mentioned, particularly in repairing injuries, involving multidirectional muscle groups, creating functional tissue replacements with proper cellular alignment, developing in vitro models for drug testing and disease research, and advanced personalized medicine. Through patient specific tissue engineering. So these are pretty exciting.
Yeah, this is cool. I'm excited. I know we started on a robot tangent for this, but the implications of this technology is massive, and it's scalable. It's already been proven. This is great. This is a lot further than a lot of the other stuff that we cover, which is exciting for sure.
Yeah, and this could be interesting in a bunch of reasons, right? As soon as you're adapting someone else's, you're taking tissue sample from somebody and creating artificial to match your DNA, you can now do medical devices that are custom to that person, that could go inside, that won't be rejected by the body. The interesting in pharmaceutical research, and obviously potential defense applications.
Yeah.
So this is really exciting. So the MIT research team is already pursuing several promising avenues for advanced artificial muscle technology. Their roadmap includes replicating increasing complex natural muscle hierarchies, integrating artificial muscles with electronic control systems, and developing scalable fabrication processes for larger applications.
Yeah.
So key future directions include creating modular biohybrid systems with interchangeable muscle components so you can swap stuff out, developing self-healing capabilities through regenerative biological mechanisms so robots and whatever can heal themselves, or you can, depending on what we're using here, expanding the range of simulation methods beyond optical activation with light and whatnot, and incorporating sensory feedback for closed loop control systems. So
That's
there's
awesome.
a lot to do. Yeah, and we're pretty excited about where we're heading with this.
Yeah.
So we'd love to hear what you think about this MIT's artificial muscle research and these soft robots that are potential robots or potential medical devices that can help humans. We'd love to know, where do you think this technology is going, and is it something you embrace or something you might fear?
Yeah.
You
I'm
know,
scared a little bit of it, not gonna lie.
yeah, fleshy robots. It's a scary concept in the end.
Yeah.
Let us know what your thoughts. We'd love to hear from you. Leave your comments in the comment section. What is this? That's done. So AI is the biggest thing right now. Everyone's talking about, there's new releases going on, And Bill Gates says within 10 years, AI will replace many doctors and teachers, and humans won't be needed for most things. How does that make you feel, John?
I'm not surprised. There was also, I know we're talking about this article, but there was something that I read this morning that Bill Gates is saying that work weeks are going to become 2 days long. So this just solidifies. He's doubling down kind of thing. So he believes that within the next decade, AI is going to replace doctors, potentially teachers, rendering humans unnecessary for a lot of tasks. So this kind of aligns. So he's got this free intelligence concept era where AI powered tools become ubiquitous and transformative across various sectors, including healthcare, education, even manufacturing. So he emphasizes that although AI is going to automate a lot of roles, humans are going to still be essential in certain areas. And he identifies a few. So energy, biology, which is weird to me that he's saying biology. Maybe it's because of the lack of robotics or the need for human interaction for it, and coding. So what are your thoughts on those things and on his predictions, Craig?
Well, I think there's definitely there's a lot of information. For example, when a doctor goes to school, they're reading from textbooks. You're learning from most of what they learn is old. It's information that exists. There's no reason an AI can't learn that just as well.
Yeah.
What you don't learn is, how to put it all together when you're walking around and talking to patients and doing the stuff that you see in the classic TV shows where you're working with an experienced doctor and you're doing the patient analysis and stuff. So the question becomes is how good is it going to really be at these things? But it is getting better and better. I just think that we're not there yet, and we're not going to be there. I don't think in 10 years. We're still going to have that 80-20 rule where maybe a lot of stuff will be automated, but they won't be able to complete the loop, whatever that means, because that takes a long time. It's like, how long have we had self-driving? But it's still not level. Well, I think Tesla claims they're level 5 now, maybe. And what's the next level where we're actually going to let these cars drive us completely? There are, the cyber trucks and the cyber taxis and stuff out there, but most of them are only in trial modes, and they have problems around emergency vehicles, and they have this and they have that. So when you talk about that, that's just that one application, not driving.
Yeah.
I think AI will replace all telehealth lines and that kind of stuff where so those things will go away. So there's definitely, medical diagnostic transformation. This is great because you can probably get AI to give you the most probable things and whatnot, and prevent that level. But what level will it go to? Will it go to the doctor level from you don't have to see a doctor anymore? Or will it just be that reference to, like, when the person comes in, asks you all those questions about how you're feeling, fills out your chart and preps a doctor, or the phone call, or the WebMD? What's it going to replace? And then what were the other areas you were talking about?
Biology, energy, and coding.
I don't understand the energy one off the top of my head, but biology, I think.
Sorry, those are the ones that are still going to need human roles.
Okay, sorry. That
Healthcare
definitely
and education were the two that he was talking about.
Yeah, that's why I didn't understand the one there. I believe education will be completely taken over by AI, almost completely.
Yeah.
Now, it just like a lot of production will be taken over by a lot of potential images, art, whatever you want to call it. Don't say art; people get mad. But the point being is that there's always going to be room for the actual artist, the craftsman, the woodworker that comes and handcrafts the stuff and makes something specifically unique for you. But the basic stuff will be replaced by AI. So there will be a spot for human teachers. They will be niche, though, is what I'm trying to get at, versus most of the education you can get from AI. Coding, yeah, those jobs will be, again, rare. A lot of those coding, 50% of the people working on Ubisoft's Assassin's Creed game have never developed a game before in their life. And
I
within
didn't know
10
that.
years, we won't need those people.
Yeah.
So yes, you will only need the people that are smarter than AI at coding. We'll only need the very, very experienced people. The problem is we won't be creating any more of them.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're running COBOL or you're running an old Unix system, you have this 60 or 70-year-old person who's the only person who knows the system that you have to call.
Yeah.
I call them Unix beard people. And because they don't train this stuff anymore. They don't teach COBOL or RPG2 or what have you. And a lot of these systems are ancient and not up to date. So I think that's what's going to happen when we start moving these things out. So, well, we have the modern system that does almost all the coding for us. But when things break or not working right, we need our experts to kind of lead them in the right direction, because AI is not good enough to not lose its crap halfway through development.
For sure. Yeah. But I disagree with you when we're talking about timelines. I think 10 years is a reasonable timeline, and like there's tons of examples of this. So for example, you can right now get an AI to take phone calls, handle phone calls, talk to someone, outbound phone calls, call people and do leads. So like that, what I feel like we're not that far off from teaching an AI to talk like a doctor would and be what's the word I'm looking for? Synthetic sympathy for patients. And so I don't think we're that far off. I think by 10 years we're going to be there's going to be a huge change. I don't think it's going to be as profound as like at 10 years, but I think it'll be very close.
Well, I guess when I was saying 10 years or more away, I get it depends on, like I said, at what level.
Sure.
Like
Okay.
I think you can almost replace most of those the call telehealth people today.
Sure. Yeah. Agreed.
You and me and a couple of people, we could build this and we could get her done.
Yeah. Agreed.
With the stuff that's out there today. It's just at what level. It's like at what, you're building the guardrails to say, okay, at this point, the AI can't recommend anything, so that you need to hand it over to a real person. So there's a little more context and can deal with it. But we can do that right now. But what level from a doctor point of view? What level from and liability? So these are a few things. Right? We have a healthcare system here in Canada that's government controlled. And when we see what's happening in the US, when someone comes and says, hey, we're going to cut all these jobs in a certain area, people get upset at the government level. So it's interesting to see how that transition will happen. And that's kind of what I'm saying is going to be the 10-year plus plan is, right, we have some of this technology, we have liability issues, we have a socialistic society that doesn't want to cut all these jobs today. It's going to take us a while to transition to the technology that we're happy with, and the legal terms that won't get hospitals in trouble when an AI messes them over. That whole process will take a while, and for us to get comfortable with what happening with AI, that overall, I think society is not comfortable with the amount of job loss that's going to happen from an AI perspective. And that all has to come together. So society as a whole is moving there. Again, individually, you can't hold back the flood, right? Like it's coming. The only thing is what is the future, and how
fast is it going to get here?
Yeah. And we talked here, the future of work, the sectors most vulnerable to AI displacement include data entry specialists, document processors, scheduling coordinators, basic accounting functions, customer service,
and now digital marketing.
Yeah, first line, support representation, order processing agents, basic query handling, manual labor and predictive elements, assembly line workers, warehouse operations, transportation, basic content creation, research assistants, data analysts. So people need to think about some of these emerging AI career opportunities, like AI trainers and evaluators, algorithm auditors, AI ethics specialists, prompt engineering experts, AI augmentation, healthcare practitioners, AI support creative professionals, and human experience designers for AI teams. That kind of stuff. You got to start thinking about when the robots are doing all the work. Only the people programming and repairing the robots will have jobs. So you need to start thinking in those directions.
Yep. The trainers, the oversight people checking the outputs of AI. But yeah, there's gonna, like, this change is like what was the industrial revolution kind of thing. This is going to be similar to that, except I think it's going to have a much larger impact than the industrial revolution on people.
Yeah, I think, we've called it the information revolution, but we've already had an information age.
Yeah.
We're moving from generally information, almost all information is generally available to almost all people. You have to do a little work. If you don't have a computer, you might have to go to a library or whatever, but generally it's available to, it's the information is not just available to all people, but it's available to all devices who now can actively go and interact with it and do stuff.
Yeah.
This becomes a whole level of different world we're talking about. And it'll be interesting to see if the internet and the networks and everything we built can handle this. Like when you have AI, I'll give you an example. In several cities, restaurants don't take reservations. They don't take reservations because in this day and age, people just they'll call 5 or 6 restaurants, make reservations, and they'll pick one at the time and only show up at the one.
Yeah.
And so now you take reservations, you got to pay money, and the world changes. What happens when you have 1,000 bots, 10,000 bots making reservations at 10 places or 100 places or everyone across town for people? Like, can we handle that? Will our bots be anti-botting? Like, are you a bot? I don't know. Are you a bot? So you prevent bots from making the world changes in unknown ways. And I know that's a silly example, but the example is trying to make you think about, okay, are you engaging with a bot and a real person? Are they authorized to do this? And do we want to allow what we have accepted of freedom of information to be available for the bots? Because we already see that. We already see anti-bot behavior on the web and things blocking versus crawling. And we see Cloudflare has a labyrinth tool that sends AI down this hole if they detect that you're AI, if they're looking at your site. So we have a whole new world happening here around this stuff, and I'm really interested to see where it goes. Where do you think it's going to go?
Yeah, I don't know. This is just the evolution, and I don't disagree with anything Bill Gates has said here. So I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see where the next 2 years are going to go. What's going to happen in the next 2 years?
We'd love to know what you think is going to happen in the next 2 years in job displacement with AI. Give us your feedback in the comments below.
Yeah.
All right. So this will probably go out near the end of April, early May. I haven't checked. What do you got going on, John?
So we've got a couple after parties, or one after party. I can't remember. We've got Futurist. We've got Consensus. We
definitely got a Consensus after party. We're having a Flowgrammer event related to a Futurist blockchain conference. Some stuff around AI and automation related to cryptocurrency, which should be fun. And that's mid-May, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, that'll be exciting. So come on out if you're in Web3. Even though we don't cover much in Web3, there's still a lot going on. So
yeah, check out torontostarts.com, flowgrammer.ca, and connect with John Irwin on LinkedIn. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Craig.